My spirit's sleeping somewhere cold until you find it there and lead it back home.
Wake me up!
Wake me up inside!
I can't wake up!
Wake me up inside!
Save me!
Call my name and save me from the...
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Thursday, May 8th, 2025. I'm Jay Skeets here in the Classic Factory, and alongside me, as always, Melas.
Podcast listeners, this is for you.
Next to him, it's the bearded one, my top shot hot boy, Trey Kerby.
Ayo.
Ayo. And over yonder, making the magic happen, super producer JD.
Hello.
There he is. Here we are. Hello to the YouTubes. Hello to the podcast listeners. Lots to talk about once again. It was deja vu last night when it came to that first game. I saw Zach Cram tweet, putting the Mario Kart blue shell in the NBA playoffs has done wonders for the entertainment product. Good tweet, Zach. Yeah, the New York Knicks did it again. Down 20 in the third quarter of game one. Down 20 in the third quarter of game two. Two huge comebacks. Two incredible road wins against the defending champs. You can't have the bing without the bong, Tass. My God, the Knicks up 2-0 as they go back to Madison Square Garden, and it was very similar to game one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
It was incredible how it was exactly the same. The new Celtics owners have to be saying, we want a refund. Our offer is withdrawn. Because they didn't expect this 2 games in a row to do that. Even though their season was full of games where they couldn't put it together for 48 minutes. And that is what's happening right now with the Boston Celtics, where they just can't finish the job. I thought in the fourth quarter, Josh Hart was the meanest guy of them all. The guy who was putting his attitude. He kind of set the tone. 2 big blocks. Josh Hart, the 6'4" guy, the guy who was helping out at the rim because Mitchell Robinson was out on the perimeter and he was very good. But I just went back and watched every single shot for the Boston Celtics. It's really hard to decipher what happened. Jaylen Brown was 0 for. The three-point shot was so short. He tried to take Jalen Brunson down low. Tried to draw a foul on Jalen Brunson, which is an odd choice, I would say. I thought Derek White's threes were going to be going down. I thought those were happening. He made a great pass then to Jason Tatum in the corner, whose three was short. Those threes were just so short. And I would say about Jason Tatum, he was the one guy trying to make it happen down the stretch.
He was the one guy to hit a bucket in the final 8 or 9 minutes of the game.
Yeah, and that's why you have to watch all 8 of those minutes where they didn't score a basket from 8:40 to 18 seconds. How that happens to a basketball team. And Tatum did force it. He got the dunk with 18 seconds. And then the Celtics ran the exact same play. And the Knicks adapted, setting their guy back a little bit further in the paint where OG Anunoby could help a little bit more, and then it resulted in Mikal Bridges' block. So that was an interesting choice by Joe Mazzulla. Let's just run the same thing. And then that didn't work out. Repeating is hard, I guess. They don't have the same attitude for 48 minutes. We know that. But there's just no explanation for this, really.
There's 2 explanations. On one side, it's what Boston did wrong. On the other side, it's what the Knicks did right. Boston is missing shots. There's no other way to put it. They went 7 for 34 in the second half on shots that were not in the restricted area, 2 for 11 on 3. And like you're saying, Tass, they were getting good shots. There are some wide open looks. They missed so many good looks that they are then passing up on good looks as well. It's just a choke from shooting. There's no other way to put it. They're shooting 25% on 100 attempts through 2 games. They aren't making shots. Simply put, like, Derek White's getting good looks. Tatum's getting good looks. Al Horford's getting good looks. They're just missing. They turned the ball over 9 times in the second half. That hurts as well. And the last criticism I would have for the Celtics, Jrue Holiday seemed a little panicked on that last play when he was guarding Jalen Brunson, like all up on him.
Yep.
And you don't see him playing that ragged all that often,
Yep.
I don't think. So the Boston side of thing, I think, is kind of easy. It's more like what the Knicks are doing that's very impressive. Hart and McBride hit threes right at the end of the third quarter. I thought that was humongous. I started watching back when they were down 20 to see everything that happened. Bridges came alive in the fourth quarter. It was crazy. 0 for through the first 3 quarters, 14 in the fourth quarter. At one point, Reggie Miller says, there's no structure offensively for New York, because at that point, Cat's on the bench, Brunson is on the bench. So it's Deuce and Mitch in for those guys alongside Bridges, OG, and Hart. And Reggie was 100% right. These were not organized baskets that Mikal Bridges was scoring. It was broken plays. It was transition. It was just luckily getting points on the board. And then he got into such a rhythm that when the starters came back, Tibbs was happy to like run things through Mikal Bridges, which was humongous. Knicks were quicker to loose balls. You mentioned Josh Hart was massive on this one. Al Horford steals an inbounds pass. And then Josh Hart blocks him at the rim, turns into a three-pointer on the other end for Bridges. The offensive rebounds were huge. Hart had one that turned into a Brunson three. Karl Anthony Towns had an and one. So the Knicks were just scrapping a little bit harder. And then I thought OG Anunoby's point of attack defense was awesome. I thought Deuce McBride's point of attack defense was awesome. They both played A-plus games, taking the Celtics out of their actions, making them play late into the shot clocks. And then Brunson, of course, just did his magic. 9 points, 1 assist in the fourth quarter, knocked down the 2 huge free throws. So I think it's a combination, choke, and well played by the Knicks.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the Knicks have now made this, 5 straight road games where they've basically done this. Come back to some extent, maybe not down 20 against the Pistons, but obviously got back in those games and made all the clutch plays. They're now 5-0 on the road this postseason. All of them coming by 3 points or less. That sounds crazy. That's wilder than 2 20-point comebacks to me against the defending champs. That many close games that you keep pulling out on the road, incredible. Schumann has the stat when it comes to the Celtics just being abysmal in the clutch or down the stretch. They've scored just 38 points on 50 possessions in the fourth quarter and overtime in the series. They've shot 11 for 53 in those 29 minutes. And their 2 superstars, the 2 Jays, have been abysmal. Yes. They've just been very, very bad. That last play, to go back to that, you're right. Obviously, they sort of knew what they were going to do because they just done it and got the Tatum dunk. So they're a little bit more prepared for it. Al Horford couldn't get his blocking on as well. Mitchell Robinson did a good job staying with Tatum. Then Tatum's handle was sloppy. He lost the ball as he got onto Mitchell around the free throw line. Then sort of like, where am I going? Got into the corner. Here comes all the help. And yeah, I think they originally said it was a block. I think it's been changed to a steal because he was trying to pass out.
Yeah.
Like he had no shot. And he's like maybe trying to get it to Jaylen Brown, but Bridges with the huge steal again.
It was more steely.
Yeah.
I think you can probably give him a half point in the stocks. Half
it's kind
for
of each.
Yeah. It was both. But it was the exact same play run. Mm-hmm. The original play was underneath the Celtics hoop. Tatum's going, beelining it, and OG Anunoby was out at midcourt. So Al Horford had a mean back pick, and that's where he could continue on. Well, this time, OG Anunoby, we're seeing the same thing. Top Thibodeau said, get the heck away from midcourt.
Yeah,
just get into the freaking paint.
Yeah.
And so, he did lose the ball a little bit, but he regained it and had a second defender there, and then here comes the third defender. They just weren't prepared. It is odd just to see them not be able to score. I mean, there was the baseline turnaround shot over OG that didn't work for Tatum a couple minutes earlier. He was just desperate to try, while Jaylen Brown literally just no touch from the three-point line, and then what he's trying to do to Brunson, the Derek White misses. I will say just the Knicks were more physical. I mean, they kind of mugged Kristaps Porzingis, his one attempt with 9 minutes plus left. Mikal Bridges was all over him. We're going to see a Mitchell Robinson free throw that was way short. Kristaps Porzingis shot was like 4 feet short. It was a shot from the free throw line. How would a 7'3" guy be able to miss that far short? There was definitely a foul that was not called right then and there. That being said, the team that is more physical is going to get away with it. That's just how it is. And the Celtics were not. They were just shooting 3 after 3 after 3 when it comes down. No, I wouldn't say 3 after 3 after 3. They tried inside.
They tried 20 less. They took 20 less. They were inside way more often this game.
It was so funny. The start of this game.
Way less.
Also true. The start of this game was hilarious. The crowd basically groaning or sighing every time the Celtics attempted a 3. I'm talking right back at the tip, right? Now, thankfully, the Celtics didn't take a lot of threes really early in the game. I think they only got like 4 3-point attempts up in the first 6 minutes. So instead, they were driving, they were getting post-ups, they were getting stuff around the paint. And yeah, the balance was better in this game, but I think that was so funny. Even the crowd is like, that narrative from game 1 of when they took so many and missed so many, it was like, please stop shooting threes. And you could see it, like, okay, we can't shoot every damn possession of three-pointers, so they were trying. But, the defense from the Knicks is like, they're happy to switch. We talked about heading into the series. Man, watch out for Cat and Brunson. They're going to try and be exposed. Celtics are doing it. Celtics are getting these matchups, but they're not scoring.
No,
more times than not, they're not scoring on them.
Jaylen Brown went to Jalen Brunson twice.
Yeah. Didn't score.
Didn't happen.
Yeah.
Now, you kind of shot over him once and then tried to draw a foul once. That didn't work out well. In the fourth quarter, 11 threes for the Celtics, 13 twos, but the 13 twos just, they weren't good enough. I mean, Big Al wasn't big enough. He just wasn't scoring inside. I mentioned the Porzingis shot, and they just couldn't score.
Well, yeah, 13 twos. One of them was the Tatum layup at the end. They went 3 for 13 on twos. That's a problem. They missed 14 straight shots, and a large part of that, I think, is because Porzingis isn't really playing. Mitchell Robinson gets the game ball for this game. He was awesome in the third quarter going into the fourth quarter. That's a guy who's moving his feet on switches. He's probably the slowest guy out there, and Tatum cannot get past him right now. He's finishing possessions with the offensive rebound. On the offensive end, he's just setting every single ball screen. He must have set 80 ball screens in the fourth quarter. Once he subs out, it's Josh Hart setting all the screens. They hacked Mitchell Robinson twice. That was a funny play. Got the Knicks into the bonus, and then they subbed him out. Brilliant stuff by Tom Thibodeau, who's absolutely out-coaching Joe Mazzulla through the first 2 games so far. And without Porzingis out there, there's nobody that scares the Knicks on the perimeter. Like, Horford is a good shooter. He hasn't been making them, obviously, but this guy looks tired in fourth quarters, having to play so many minutes. Yeah. Robinson staying on the court allows the Knicks to have 3 really big, long defenders when Bridges and Anunoby are out there too. So when Tatum's trying to go by a guy like Mitchell Robinson, there are help defenders in Bridges and Anunoby, and that's kind of their strength, is like getting in passing lanes and messing things up. So I thought great stuff from Mitchell Robinson. Cat was playing well defensively, and then Josh Hart, you just can't leave him alone for a second. He's going to make the winning plays that need to be made. And yeah, Tatum, I don't know, man. He's just got to be better. There's no way around it. He scored 13 points on 19 shots.
He just came off of a series where he was averaging like 35 points per game against one of the best defenses in the league. And he's now been brutal through 2 games here. And you're right. He was trying to. He was trying to get to the rim or trying to get to spots and maybe not settle for 3. Though that one clip you're seeing, which was pretty brutal, I think it was maybe, 3 or 4 minutes left. Ball kicked around, found Tatum in the corner. And like Jalen Brunson was falling down in the paint. And you could see like Tatum's like, I'm wide open. I'm wide open in the corner and I can hit a 3-pointer. But probably could have attacked on that one, especially when Brunson fell because he got tripped up on someone, but took the shot and missed. And it was just one of those 14 like consecutive misses that just added up. I'm glad you brought up Cat. I thought Mitchell Robinson, you're right. Game ball. Even in the first half, he checked in. He deterred Tatum at the rim. He had 2 dunks. He had active hands. He got a sort of a steal on Horford that then got tied up. So he was good. But there was that stretch where they put him on the block. He scored on Horford like 3 straight times. And
yes.
Horford is still an amazing defense.
Ones.
Yeah, and that was a nice little swing there to keep them alive. Really reminiscent, really, when I think about it, to the Pacers comeback against the Cavs, where it was like Halliburton's the hero at the end. That's sort of Brunson in this one, because, man, that guy just has the clutch gene. But it's all those other players, like, keeping him around, not letting it get to a 40-point lead like we obviously saw in the second game. And it was Hart, it was McBride, and it really, Cat and Mitchell, until Bridges then also joined on as the hero with Brunson last night. It's just like those are just as important as the big clutch shots or the big free throws, just to stay in the game as they did.
Keep them around. Just let the Celtics clank after clank after clank, and we're good. Mitchell Robinson was plus 19 in this game, and so Tom Thibodeau had to go to the 2 bigs, and it works out extremely well. And Mitchell Robinson is a guy who gets injured and was not able to do it for 100% of the time last year against the Sixers in the postseason, but he's damn good when he's out there. So I think the limited minutes help out him coming off the bench. But those 2 guys, when they play together, they are just tough size to go along with those perimeter guys.
And especially, as Trey said, when Porzingis is not healthy and is not playing.
Yeah, and he said it after the game. He was sad doing that post-game presser, just slouching. He said he can't perform, and it's clear he's not him.
Yeah, and I guess he sort of had a little bit of a better game than he did in game 1. He did have some buckets inside, but he's still like a -9 out there, limited minutes, and I think he's becoming more and more important here. We're seeing with the Knicks size, like it'd be nice to have a pick and pop option to expose maybe Mitchell, but he just can't play right now because of this weird, respiratory illness that he had back in February, March, and then seemed to dissipate, missed a lot of time. No one really knew what it was, except it was non-COVID, and then now it's rearing its ugly head again here at the worst possible time for them. Because it feels like, they got to win 4 out of 5 now. And I keep saying, I've been banging this drum. I think they need KP to win the championship, unlike last year. But if the guy's not healthy, I don't know what they do. Because I don't know what the answer is. I guess maybe they're hoping Sam Hauser comes back. He didn't play.
He was in a walking boot, wasn't he?
Yeah, so I don't think that's likely, or I don't know when he's expected to be back. But, Cornette plays. but he's not a threat at all, obviously, on the perimeter. So
He was a stretch 5 back in his Bulls career.
Yeah, but he's not anymore.
Let it fly, man. Let it fly.
Luke, hit a 3 for us. What else from this one? It feels like there's a lot more to unpack here.
Yeah, well, just to note that Mikal Bridges didn't look like himself for those first 3 quarters. He didn't have a point. And then all of a sudden, those 14 points come at the exact right point in this game. I mean, he was the leading scorer for both teams in that fourth quarter, by far. I mean, Brunson helped him out, but Tatum only had 4 and Brown was 0 so all of a sudden, Mikal Bridges just turns it on and just finds it. So these little recipes, the ingredients here for a recipe of a disaster are pretty amazing when you look at it, because it all adds up to just some roughness for the Boston Celtics here.
But do you feel like this series is done? Like it's over, Knicks advancing? Or is there still a chance here in your mind? Celtics have been a really good road team. You know, maybe just shooting on some other rims and different sight lines helps them or whatever. Like, do you think it's a wrap, or do you still think it's a very long series?
I don't think it's a sweep. But I think it's a 1-game series in Game 3. Like that's a must-win for the Boston Celtics. They have been the best road team all season long. If they shoot 30% from 3 through these first 2 games, they're up 2-0. It's that simple. So win Game 3, all the pressure then flips back to New York for Game 4. That's a must-win for New York, because if it's 2-2 going back to Boston, at least the Celtics will feel like they have momentum, but they got to make some shots. There's like no other real anything to talk about with the Celtics. They got to make shots.
Yeah.
They're open looks.
They are. Yeah. In the fourth quarter, Pritchard was the only guy to hit threes, and the other guys who missed, they were just so short on their shots. And it's both Jays, like way short, way open and way short. I mean, your legs aren't there, I guess. Derek White, one was off left and one was short as well. Those
3
are
for 11.
Those are your 3 guys. Who was 3 for 11?
Derek White was 3 for 11 from 3.
Yeah.
He's so far 8 for 27 in the series.
And yeah, he was.
So he's shooting pretty good.
I was going to say, is that not like the best guy right
now? Like 33%.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, he was 0 for 2 in the fourth quarter in this one. I don't know what he was in Game 1 in the fourth quarter, but maybe he's just worse as the game goes along, because it sure felt that way watching in the fourth quarter. And it's not just, they're just not hitting threes. I mean, they're just super short, including Big Al's shots. Peyton Pritchard was able to chuck coming off the bench and was able to hit them, but yeah, the legs aren't there, I guess, question mark. Derek White was 0 for in game. Wow, man. Sometimes this NBA.com, this just annoyed me here. Anyway, I thought I had it. I thought I had a Derek White stat from fourth quarter. He was 1 for 4 in the fourth quarter.
I was going to say, don't worry, it's bad.
Yeah,
they've been very bad in 2 fourth quarters.
Yeah, well, they're definitely bad. But if one of those threes goes down, I mean, they just, again, super short. And you know how to shoot a basketball, especially from the corner as well. Jason Tatum's was right there.
Well, speaking of super short, I mean, he did have a great game, and we applauded him here. But we got to show you the free throw that Mitchell Robinson did attempt in this game. I'd be hard pressed to find a shorter free throw than this. I'm sure it exists, but this one, where he stepped to the line and obviously went through his routine, did a little fake shot, a couple dribbles, and then lets it go, and it comes up so flat.
He might not have shot this 10 feet in the air.
Yeah. No.
I don't know if it got over the rim, ever.
I don't think so. I mean, it tickled the net there as it got out of bounds. But, it was funny then, because then we had this, seeing this idea of like, is there going to be Hack-a-Mitch here? But wisely of Tibbs, like, okay, if they're going to do it, let's let them rack up enough fouls to get into the bonus, and then we'll take him off. So there's a little gamesmanship going on here between the two coaches of how they were going to approach this strategy. But he did have an incredible game. Just that's a real Shaqtin' a Fool free throw there.
Not a great free throw shooter. Kevin Harlan hit him with a holy smokes.
That's perfect on that one.
Yeah.
I have random notes here. I loved when the comeback started to happen once again, and it was deja vu. You were getting like good shots of the Knicks bench. My God, was that bench? They sensed it. They're like, oh, we're going to do this. Like, Bridges on fire here. Here we go. They can't score. The Celtics on our end. They're shooting on that net. They're just going nuts. And PJ Tucker, holy crap. Get an ISO cam on PJ Tucker. Him on both of these comebacks. I just keep my eye up in the corner. And he's talking to people in the crowd. And he's like obviously pretty hyped that the comeback's real and they're going to pull it off again. And they did. Game 3, Saturday, 3:30 on ABC. I know Chuck was pissed about that. What? How's this not prime time? But Madison Square Garden, for Game 3, a little afternoon game.
How does he know when the most people are watching? I mean, he just wants it at night, I guess.
Yeah, probably.
But Saturday, you can get some numbers at 3:30, I think.
Yeah. He might just, it's ABC, so he wouldn't even be working. Good point.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say he doesn't want to be working in the afternoon, but why would he be?
I guess
on
you
the call?
Yeah, tell me what happens.
He's golfing, I guess, and we'll be missing it, I guess. But we should go over the teams that have overcome a 2-0 deficit after losing their first 2 at home.
Okay. There's
Four, right?
not many.
There's 5
Okay.
in NBA history. One is, I didn't remember it, and you would think you would remember it just because of who was playing 4 years ago in 2021. Just because it's kind of a memorable time.
Clippers and Mavericks.
Yeah. Kawhi
I remember
able
that.
to overdo Luka.
I remember Matt Austin dunking on us because after the Mavericks won Game 2, we said the Clippers asked for this.
Right.
And then, as you can see, what happened. Good call by the Clippers.
Yeah. Come back.
Yeah.
Another one that's sort of in recent memory is your team, Trey.
Chicago Bulls.
Right.
Yeah, they were up 2-0 on the Celtics. Rondo got hurt,
The Rondo
and then they came back and won it.
2017.
2017, okay.
And then we go to 05 for the next one.
I mean, does it involve
Yeah,
our finalists of that year or no?
Nah. There's a finalist of the next year.
Okay. I got nothing on
A
05
finalist
then.
that made it in 06. Lost in 06. They
So the Mavericks.
Yeah, they beat the Rockets in 05.
Okay.
And then another Rockets. The only team here that actually won the championship. The Rockets won the championship. They won round 1
They were down 2-0.
against Phoenix.
Oh, wow,
Clutch
yeah.
City.
So they won 3 straight because
Yeah.
it was just a
Best of
5-game
5,
series back
wow.
then.
to go on to win the title.
Yeah, and then a 1969er.
Nice.
Lakers beat San Francisco. And it almost happened last year when the Nuggets lost the first 2 against the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves went up 2-0, and then it looked like the Nuggets were going to win in Game 7 and win that series, but then they lost.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's 5. So there's teams are 30-5 if you win 2 games on the road. You usually win the series. You win 30 of the 35 series.
Yeah.
So here you go.
Good
Next.
percentage.
You're in
Here
the
we go.
driver's seat.
Oh,
So
yeah.
the Pacers and the Celtics are feeling. Pacers and the Knicks are feeling pretty good.
They're
And
feeling good.
fans of the WWE are feeling great if they get a Halliburton Brunson in the
yeah.
Eastern
Oh,
Conference
they're excited.
Finals.
They're
My
excited,
God. Triple H will be pumped because they've had some good run-ins ringside. All right, well, would you bet on it? Would you bet on one of those 2 teams coming back to win the series this season, down 2-0, losing their first 2 home games?
I wouldn't bet on the Celtics. I know it's recency bias here. We just watched it. But watching them throughout the season, where we all kind of wondered, oh, this team just turns it on for a good quarter and can do it. And it's hard to bet on the Knicks after their season. But after watching what happened, yeah, I would
That's
take the
interesting.
Knicks.
I'd more likely, if I was picking either of them, I would pick the Celtics because the Cavs, I mean, they are, who's playing for them?
I'm taking the Cavs.
I know the Porzingis part is very important, as again, I keep just saying it, but the Cavs, I mean, we don't even know if they're going to have 2 of their All-Stars still, and then their main guy off the bench, they made a big trade for.
It's true.
So that's tough,
true.
too. What about you? How would you answer that one? Go Cavs or the Celtics more likely?
Celtics.
Okay. Game 3, though, on the line for both of them. Seasons.
100%.
They're not winning.
100%. You can't go down 3-0.
Yeah.
No. Let me check the stats. No.
Let's go through
Never
all the
been
teams
done.
that have done it.
Anything else from the Knicks? Shocking the world once again there. The Bing Bong Knicks, man. They are feeling themselves right now, and rightfully so. Nothing else? All right. Well, let's move to a game that shouldn't take that long. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scored 34 points in 3 quarters. Thunder set league and team records in a 149-106 win over the Nuggets last night. They tied their series at 1 game apiece. OKC becoming the first home team to win a game in the second round. So kudos to them. Right from the jump, Trey, OKC pretty hell-bent on getting some revenge here for that Game 1 loss. They were up 45-21 at the end of the first quarter. They were shooting 71.4% from the field. They continued the dominance in the second. They were up 78-43 at one point. They led 124-76 after 3 quarters. The largest lead was 49 points. SGA was a plus 51 in this game. So OKC did what we thought maybe they would do in Game 1, not Game 2. So maybe if we had flipped it, it's like, oh yeah, this series normal, but it was turned on its head here, but your takeaways from a blowout from the Thunder.
Yeah, I thought the Nuggets had it when they were up 2-0, but then brief 149-104 run for Oklahoma City. They found the NBA hack. 20-point leads aren't safe. 30-point leads are safe. Shout out to Tom Poro, who texted me at 12:24 a.m. and said, no effing way. Can't believe OKC coughed that game up. No. He knows nobody was staying awake during the second half of this one. The Thunder played with desperation. They played with force. They completely sped up the Nuggets. I talked after game one that I thought Denver was out in transition way too much. They had 24 fast break points, only 5 last night. In game 2, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is dominating in this series. He had 34 last night on 13 field goal attempts. Made as many free throws as he did shots from the field, 11 for 13 from the field, 11 of 11 at the line, had 8 assists, 2 turnovers. So far, he's averaging a Giannis-like 33.5 per game on 60% shooting. Like I said, there's no matchup for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and he is dominating his matchup. On the flip side, Jamal Murray can't find any space with Lou Dort putting the clamps on him. Then the other question is, how were the Thunder going to guard Nikola Jokic? Instead of Chet on him, they started with Isaiah Hartenstein on him, and then they just didn't guard anybody else. They completely swarmed him. You saw J-Dub getting him on a switch a lot, standing him up as much as he could, and then it was just help off literally everybody. They're not guarding Brown. They're not guarding Westbrook. They're not guarding Watson. They're even risking it with Michael Porter Jr. They're just like, maybe he can't get the shot up fast enough with his hurt arm. Yeah. And kind of playing out correctly for them. Gordon didn't do much either. Only 17 points on 16 field goal attempts for Jokic. He had 6 assists and 6 turnovers. 6 of those assists, or a couple of those assists, were like full quarters as well. So he's got more turnovers than assists. He fouled out. You look at the box outs, there's 3 guys on him. They're just saying, we're completely taking away Jokic. Maybe somebody else can beat us. It ain't going to be Murray. And the other guys were not able to do it. Meanwhile, the other guys for the Thunders showed up. Caruso, he's had 2 good games. It was mostly just defense in this one, but Isaiah Joe hit 4 threes. I thought Wiggins was an absolute demon. He scored 10 points in the second quarter, and everyone felt like a highlight play from him. Mm-hmm. Case and Wallace, a couple of steals and a couple of threes. This was a perfect Thunder game.
It was a perfect Thunder game. I thought the defense on Jokic was a real toilet bowl type of defense. It wasn't a, hey, we're just going to double you and let you pass out of it. It was a swirling all around him, so they took away the passing lanes. They did a great job of that. And occasionally they throw a small guy at him that couldn't be pushed, like an Alex Caruso, turned into a turnover because Jokic was offensive fouling him, or a Lou Dort, which would happen, and he was just too tough to be taken out of that toilet. They would just clog that thing up. Enough. And that's why Jokic had 6 buckets, 6 turnovers, and 6 fouls.
He seemed frustrated with the physicality in this one. Yeah. And the bodies and so many people swarming at him. I mean, like you said, he got himself fouled out. That last one was the one where he was like jumping on Jalen Williams' back, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
The end of the third quarter, so game out of reach, and if anything, it's like, good.
Yeah.
Sit him down for the entire fourth and get ready for game 3. But yeah, he was frustrated.
Yeah, it wasn't just taking away him. It was a perfect game because they were able to take away the lane and not let Westbrook or Christian Brown score in tight. For them to only have 28 points in the paint, just 14 buckets, that just means, yes, you're incapable of getting in there. They're able to move, and that's why they kicked butt when it came to fast break points, 26-5. That's the Nuggets' deal. I mean, they're so good at the fast break points, but they couldn't do it against this team. They turned it over 20 times. The rebounds. Finally, the Thunder turned it around after game 1 after getting smashed. But 87 points in the first half, 6 guys in double figures. That's a new playoff record. 87 freaking points. That's so many freaking points. It's here, man.
I mean, the Knicks scored 91 to win, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Very different games last night, for sure. Yeah, I mean, watching game 3, I just go back to, like, Dort on Jamal Murray. Like, they're gonna, like, Jamal has to help out Jokic, but that is easier said than done when you're not, like, when you're in the torture chamber, man. Like, he was all on him. Like, it was like easily game plan, shut that off. And like Dort lives for that. And then we can worry about obviously throwing everybody else at Jokic because we don't trust anybody else to shoot on that team. But Jamal is going to have to be much, much better in Denver to try and get this back. I think at the best, obviously a split back at home, make it a 3-game series because you got that first one in miraculous fashion. So they're going back. They got the split. That's huge. But this was an absolute beatdown that I think, again, maybe more people expected probably in game 1. But maybe there was a bit of a rust factor there. Who knows? Because they had so much time off. or
Yeah.
just weren't ready for the different type of matchup in Denver.
And Dort's so good at selling a pick that hit him as well.
Oh, yeah.
Jokic hit him with one. There's a foul. Caruso getting under Jokic's skin. There's a foul. And so they added up. Obviously, they just didn't have to be all defensive.
I don't have a whole lot else from this one.
I think Aaron Gordon should bring the ball up more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alleviate.
Yeah, let Murray come and
Yeah.
get the ball off the second side action or something like that. Save his legs bringing the ball up the court. Maybe Westbrook initiating things. I mean, it's risky, buddy. It's a risky call. But they need somebody else to handle the ball besides Jokic and Murray, especially if Murray's going to be taken out of the game by the physicality that Dort's bringing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think of the OKC crowd changing how they received Russell Westbrook? Game 1, it was all ovations, applause. This one was more leaning into the boos. Maybe a part of that is because they lost Game 1. Like, hey, let's switch it on its head here. Westbrook had a fine game. I mean, he's a minus 30, like all the other starters. I mean, he came off the bench, so it's not like he had an impact on winning, but he was like at least getting to the free throw line a little bit. What do you think about that move?
I didn't feel it. Watching the TV. Could you feel it?
Not really.
No.
It was more pointed out of people in the arena. But yeah, like I couldn't feel one way or the other. Game 1, was it like, wow, we were loving Westbrook? Not really. Game 2 is boo, boo, boo? Not really. So I'm sure there's like 8 people that, Andrew Schlecht is hearing. Huh, that guy's booing. I'll write that down. No, just a beatdown. And it was pretty impressive. And everybody contributed for the Thunder, and it was nobody really having any sort of answer for the Denver Nuggets. But they go back 1-1.
Yeah, I wonder if they keep throwing a zone defense at OKC too. Just seems like they're copping out a little bit at times to see whether or not OKC can shoot. But they didn't need to. They just passed it so well and just got through their holes of the Nuggets defense. So this is a defense that wasn't incredible throughout the year and got better against the Clippers. We'll be watching that because it didn't work, obviously.
Going to be hard pressed to lose a playoff game when you shoot 56% from the floor, 44 from deep, and then a cool 92 at the line. If you want to round up, that's the old 50-40-90 for a team there. That's good. Good percentages.
Yeah,
from
and
OKC.
9 turnovers.
Yeah,
And 9
that's the other
turnovers,
part.
so they're shooting every time.
Well, to go back,
And shooting great percentages.
Yeah, and to go back to like you giving praise to SGA because he's averaging 33.5, I think you said, through these 2 games, and 7 boards and 8 assists, so filling up the box score. 3 turnovers in 70 minutes for the lead point guard on the Thunder. So like just masterful with the ball right now. It's very easy, I guess, what I'm getting at for him. So they're going to try and have to speed him up, make him make some bad decisions. Good luck with that because he's always in control. But he is dominating right now. And it's like, I know Jokic had the monster first game, and that was the big surprise, and then has had a quiet second one. But like what SGA is doing here is proving like this is why this guy's an MVP. He just goes at it a little differently. So maybe you need like a big game winner or a big huge play at the end to get all the headlines, and maybe that comes in this series because it is 1-1 as I said. All right, let's get to some news. Warriors star Steph Curry will miss at least 1 week of the playoffs after he was diagnosed with a grade 1 left hamstring strain. An exact return timeline will be based on how he responds to rehab. With the first career muscle strain in the hamstring, at least for him, he's never had this injury. So Tash, he is set to be out through at least Game 4 on Monday. After that, Game 5 would be on May 14th, followed by 3 days off before Game 6 on May 18th, potential Game 7th on May 20th. So we're looking at probably Game 5, maybe Game 6. And maybe that all depends on how the rest of the series goes and how either the Wolves take control of it or the Warriors can sort of win 1 or 2 here without him. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, if I wanted to be positive for the Golden State Warriors, I'd say maybe they're just saying 1 week to push it back so we don't get asked about it. So every guy in the locker room is asked, hey, Jimmy, you think Steph's coming back? So they don't have to deal with it. But then the negative side of me says, it ain't good. Steph was, quote, crushed by the hamstring injury and when it happened. That's what Steve Kerr said. And the 1 week seems like 1 week. So we're talking about Game 5. So this is not good at all. I think a Minnesota team that turns it around after Game 1. I think we're not going to see it bad as performance through these next few games. Steph or no Steph. So I think that's a bad recipe for the Warriors.
Your takeaways?
Yeah, Game 5 is 8 days after the injury. They said he'll be reevaluated in 1 week, which doesn't mean he's coming back in 1 week. So my guess is that Game 6 is most likely because that's 3 days after that. That's 11 days. It's the playoffs. The guy's going to push to play. a little earlier than he probably
Right.
should. But still, the fact that there was no timeline for his return, I think is disappointing for the Warriors. But if they're in Nico Harrison mode, let's look at it from a positive perspective. They need to win one game. They need to win one of the next 3 games to have a chance in this series. Then they would be 2-2 heading into Game 6 with Steph Curry coming back.
Right.
You're feeling confident at least there. And can the Warriors win one more against the Timberwolves with no Curry? I think it's possible. Their defense is awesome. They completely shut down Minnesota in Game 1. They've got playoff Jimmy. And as John Krasinski has mentioned a lot of times at The Athletic, Minnesota has lost a ton of games this season when the other team is missing their stars. They lost to Milwaukee without Giannis and Dame, Miami without Jimmy Butler, oddly enough, Sacramento without DeMar DeRozan, the Pacers without Halliburton. All of those were home games when the other team was missing their best player. So the Timberwolves, at least during the regular season, had a habit of overlooking their competition. I think they would cruise to a victory. They got to come out like they're playing against Steph Curry. I mean, I know Jaden McDaniels was saying, not much is different guarding Buddy Hield than Steph Curry. I like the mindset. He's like, I got to be as locked in on Buddy as Steph, and that's exactly what it's got to be. They got to come out and say, this is a full-strength team. We need to beat them down.
That's a good point. I mean, everything you're hearing from the Warriors seems to be, obviously we're not going to panic. We did get Game 1 in a game which we do lose Curry for half the game. And what happened? It was in Butler's hands for a majority of that sort of second half there. They trust him and Draymond Green to run the offense. They obviously believe in their defense enough. It's been one of the best since they added Jimmy Butler to the mix at the deadline. And it's like, hey, don't worry, we got Jimmy to carry us. Draymond has said it, Curry has alluded to it. I guess that's why you sort of make this deal. Like, yeah, Curry makes everything go for the Warriors, but you went and got Jimmy Butler at the deadline for maybe instances like these where, hey, man, you've taken a team twice to the finals. Get us to, basically, like you guys are saying, get us to Game 5 or 6 in like either down 1 or up 1. Like, get us a game or 2 here. So he's important. But what I look at is like all those other guys, Buddy Hield, Pods, Gary Payton II to some extent, like they're just going to have to hit shots. They're going to have to, like, as a sort of make up for the absence of Curry as a collective crew. Now, Buddy Hield is on one. He is like Curry right now. But we've seen that like come and go with Buddy Hield. That's why Curry's the best. He's fairly damn consistent. But Pods is somebody to watch here. Like at the end of the regular season, he had 3 out of 4 games where he was scoring over 20 points. He had that big Game 4 against the Rockets where he scored 26. He hit 6 threes. But since then, he's only scored 30 points over the last 4 games, and he can't shoot. He's 6 of 22 from deep. Like that's like around 27%. So he's got to that's got to be higher because he's going to get the looks and he's got to bang them down and then maybe we have a series here. But because the Wolves are going to come out like a bat out of hell, I assume, tonight in Game 2. Or they should, Curry or no Curry, because they got to win. Holy crap. Something just fell here
scary.
in the classic.
That was actually frightening for
That
a
was
second
legit
there.
loud.
Yeah.
And I know you heard
Super
that one on the
loud.
podcast. Anyway, that's Pods knocking down a shot there, hopefully. So we'll see.
No, that's Pod's clanking, like he has been recently. He hasn't. We'll see how Jimmy said, I'll come out and perform when I need to perform during the regular season. It is different against a monstrous front line. This is a huge front line. We'll see if he can repeat anything like he did from the Miami Heat days. He has been incredibly impressive at getting into the space, drawing contact, hitting the ground, selling it. He's been a Jimmy bumper. Will he score 25 to 28 to 30? He could easily. He could. And he has had good games throughout this first round here and game number 1.
Also missed a game, though, in the first round. Let's not forget. He has his own injury that he's sort of working through, dealing with the pelvis contusion.
The pelvis hurts.
So he's he's got to go through that, but all these guys are basically banged up and injured at this point. The elephant in the room, though, too, is like, okay, let's say they even win one of these, they get it to Game 6, like, how does Curry look when he returns from a hamstring injury? Because unfortunately, we've seen stars rush to get back and all that, and then it gets even worse, and you re-injure it because it's such an injury where that's a concern with your hammy. That it's like, you come back too soon, like you can re-injure it quite easily. So there's that as well. I mean, we're not trying to just make it sound like get to Game 6, Curry comes back, scores 40 and 50, and you win this thing. I don't think that's the case, but they just got to even hope that they even see Curry again, or the Wolves take control.
Different injuries, but I'm thinking of Dame Lillard coming back, and he was basically a decoy for the Bucks because he couldn't move quite the same way he did. Who knows what Curry will return and look like, but the Warriors have such little shooting that you could run Steph out there with one leg, and it would be better than the other options that they have. Having him out there is threatening. They also need Draymond to shoot as well as he did in Game 1. The guy made 4 threes. Buddy was 5, so They're going to have to find their shooting somewhere until Steph is back.
Yeah, I don't like this Jaden McDaniels philosophy of, Steph's not there. Well, just Buddy Hield is the new Steph. You don't want to play defense like that. You don't want to have 4 eyes on that guy at all times. I mean, you want to play the lanes. You want to play better. You want to play the other guys. And you play every other guy one-on-one. It's a far different Golden State Warriors team. We'll see, though. If it is just one game that we need from games 3 and 4, probably, because I think the Wolves will take game 2, but we'll see. But if it is just one game, then it is a different story.
Moving on, Fred VanVleet and the Houston Rockets have agreed to push back the deadline date on his $44.9 million team option. This is according to Shams at ESPN. So the deadline, which was originally May 9th, which is tomorrow, is now pushed to June 29th. So all signs, Trey, suggest he is going to be back with the team next season, but we're figuring out what that looks like. Do the Rockets pick up his option? They could decline it, sign him to a longer-term deal, but maybe at a lower starting salary. So they're just saying, we will wait and see on this one. Were you shocked by this at all, or does this make sense for both parties, or at least from the Rocket side of things?
I don't know if I was shocked by things, but they shouldn't have his contract expire when he could be playing during the playoffs. Right? Fred VanVleet could literally still be playing right now. They were in a Game 7.
Are we sure it may not be one of those weird things that it's like so many days after you're eliminated from the play? I think it might be.
Maybe
that,
it is.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, this makes complete sense from both sides. They're not going to give him. They're not going to do his team option. They're going to give him less money per year for more years because he's a good culture guy to have around. So VanVleet is due for $44.9 million basically next year. I think it's more likely he's at like $35 million for 3 years. That would be like 3 years, 105 or something like that. Because good vet to have around, good starter right now. If at the end of his contract when he's nearing 35 years old, will be a good bench player to have around. The other thing is he fits perfectly around star players. We saw it with Kawhi Leonard when he showed up in Toronto for one season. We know the Rockets are going to be active this offseason. Fred VanVleet is a guy who can be your number one ball handler, but also can be your 4th option in a starting lineup.
Yeah, it's tomorrow that number would have become guaranteed for next season. So maybe it's, hey, if we're in the conference finals, you're guaranteed next year, man. That is a different type of number, that's for sure. It sure feels like they will say, we want you to be a complimentary player. Come cheaper, man, just for a few more years. That's what Raphael Stone's probably thinking.
Because you have extensions kicking in for your guys too,
Yep.
right? And Şengün and Jalen Green. I mean, decisions to be made with some of those guys as well. But and there's other guys like I think Aaron Holland. I mean, lower down on the pecking order, but Aaron Holiday and Jock Landale, like they got some things like that. They're getting into an expensive team, is my point. So hell yeah, I assume they want to keep VanVleet because he's important, especially as a culture guy. But like maybe not $45 million, like you said, maybe a little discount, but we'll give you longer years.
Yeah.
More years.
Right now, next year's salaries have no one near the max offer. The Jalen Green and Şengün, they click in for $33 million per. So there's still room. Raphael Stone has made a very, very interesting team. But when they signed Fred, we all sort of thought maybe he's too old, and he's only 31, and so he sure feels like he's doing enough. This was a bad season for Fred. He didn't play well during the regular season. He shot 38 from the floor, 34% from 3. That's a 51% true shooting percentage. But then he turned it up for that one series, 63.2% true shooting percentage. So it feels good. Raphael Stone must be saying, all right, I'm working on other deals to try and put together one of those guys we named along with, your Dylan Brooks and potentially your Atari Eason and Jabari Smith to package for a big name. So he must be working the numbers here.
And then finally here in the news, some good news when it came to the Celtics at least. Yesterday, the NBA announced that Celtics guard Jrue Holiday was named the league's social justice champion and will receive the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar trophy. They gave it to him last night before the game. Hey, nice looking trophy. Better
Really
than all those
cool.
other ones. Yeah, I liked it. The NBA will also donate $100,000 to the Jrue and Lauren Holiday Social Impact Fund. So Jrue not only adds, or he does add to his NBA Sportsmanship Award. He also gets this, the Social Justice Champion Award.
Just one Twyman Stokes away from the trifecta of good guy awards. Of course, Jrue Holiday has won the Twyman Stokes Award 3 times in his career. He's won the Sportsmanship Award twice in his career, and this is his first Social Justice Award. think he's a good guy.
He's a great guy.
I think he's a well-liked guy who does good things.
Him and Lauren.
Yeah.
Doing good work with their fun. Anything to add to here?
Well, no, I was just going through the stats of everything he gets involved for people. Like, he put in 400 hours of coaching and support to nearly 200 businesses across the U.S. That is just some man hours there to get them helping out, along with giving them $5 million in grants, helping out Black-owned businesses and HBCUs. And he's just, an overall good guy. I mean, his quote was, "If you participate in your community and in your country, your voice can be heard." Simple as that. Jrue and Lauren have been doing it for a long time.
Congrats to Jrue Holiday on the award. All right, that's all the news I got. That was a quickie. Sadly, we only have one game on tonight, guys. Just Warriors-Wolves, 8:30 Eastern on TNT. Can I just say, as an East Coaster, I think I can speak for all of us. I love these 7 and 9:30 starts. I mean, I guess we're helped out by there's really only one super Western Conference team left, as we have a lot in the Midwest area. So they're
Big
fine.
shout out to the Midwest holding us down.
Jesus, is it nice? 7 and 9:30. We can do that. That's good, because then you're not getting into like 1 o'clock in a.m. when you got those 10:30 starts. It's a lot better.
Oh, it's very nice.
I mean, last night's you go to bed at like 10:30 after that blow. I mean, no need to watch the second half of that one. But only that game on tonight. We'll be back here tomorrow with the Drop podcast, though. So some rapid fire fun, potentially worst of the week. 5-Star Friday, I believe we're due for. We'll do some big picture questions when it comes to the playoffs. Maybe we'll do some ranking in terms of teams you think are most likely to win this title, because this one feels wide open. I mean, it's fairly open right now with all the way these series have gone, and some of the elite-looking teams here down 2-0. So we'll get into that on tomorrow's podcast. If you're a Survivor fan, there was an episode of that last night. Let me just say it was more like the Thunder Nuggets game than it was the Celtics Knicks game. Not the greatest. Not the greatest episode of Survivor. A little disappointing, but we'll break it down. Nora will join us here in the Classic Factory, 1 p.m. Eastern. No Buffs, its own YouTube feed, its own podcast feed. So check that out. Otherwise, Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, we'll roll in a worst of the week tomorrow for Paul Pierce. He's got to get in. But I won't mention the Fav icon for Paul Pierce. I'm just going to mention it now, because it's a terrible. I don't like that Fav icon.
Is it a good photo?
Nah. I don't know. It's him. Those glasses. Anyways, that's not going to be part of the worst of the week, but Paul Pierce is a nominee.
Brace the day, people.
Big Paul.